So I guess we're making this video. Hello and welcome to the developer update for March 2025. This was released March 6th and it's going to be put to the PTB, tested out, and the actual update for the real game will come later. Now I want everyone to know that I am coming into this developer update with the most insanely based opinions known to man. You are just gonna have to take my word for it. So, we have status effect updates to mending. Decreased self-mending time from 10 seconds. Decreased self-mending time to 10 seconds. It was 12. And decreased the altruistic mending time to 6 seconds. Was 8. I am not going to read the dev notes because I don't care. So the mending for survivors it's a bit slow, you know. Only shaving off 2 more seconds, I mean, if you think about it, 2 seconds is a long time to the baby survivor's brain, okay? The baby survivor's brain thinks seconds are minutes and minutes are hours, okay? If you hadn't popped a gen at the 2-minute mark, you basically just gave the player the fucking game. Gave the killer the fucking game. Anyways, so this is actually really good for baby survivors, because you know that's basically 2 minutes completely erased from the self-mending time. I think personally it's a good change. I don't like mending. I never really had a problem with mending. You know, it never really bothered me. I never felt it was too long. But I do see how some people think it's too long, and I do agree that turning it down a bit is probably the better option if they had to do anything to mending at all. Anyways, so now we go to the killer updates. The Legion has a decreased fatigue time to 2.5 seconds. It was 3. His fatigue move speed has increased to 2.3 meters a second. It was 2.07. Feral Frenzy lasts 11 seconds. It was 10. Okay. Feral Frenzy cooldown is now 15 seconds. Was 20. Okay. Movement speed earned by hit during Feral Frenzy is now 0.24. It was 0.20. And it adjusted several add-ons. So here's what I really like about the Legion update is this one right here. The movement speed earned by the hit of Feral Frenzy is now 0.24 when it was 0.20. This is really useful in big fucking maps where you hit a survivor and you don't see any heartbeats, so you run all the way to the other side of the map. But the problem is you're just not fast enough, you're just not quick enough, so by the time you reach that other survivor to hit them, you're already fatigued. I never really had a problem with the fatigue anyways. I mean they did update mending, so it does make sense to buff the Legion. And all of these are buffs, so that makes sense. I never really minded most of these, but this one right here, this one's my favorite change. And adjusted several add-ons. That's lovely. I think after this update comes out, in the next update, we'll get the Legion to be completely removed from the game. I heard from an insider at the FBI agency that listens in on people's calls that the behavior team was saying how they're wanting to get rid of Legion. They're probably going to do it after the March update, and it's March now, so as exciting as these changes are, nothing is more exciting than to see him completely removed from the game, I think, in my honest opinion. Now we go to the Xenomorph. This is the one people have been complaining about, and we'll just look. Okay, increased tail attack charge time to 0.35 seconds was 0.2. My main problem with the tail attack charge is that I fucking suck at aiming. So, just making it take a little bit longer isn't gonna change the fact that I suck at aiming. It's kind of like the Nemesis whip. Like, I have a hard time with the Xenomorph and the Nemesis whip. But, like, Huntress hatchets are fine. I just think, adding Crosshair would do wonders, and you wouldn't have to do anything. And increase the tail attack charge sound for survivors. I've actually only ever heard this once that I remember. So the fact that they've increased the sound just makes it so much better. Once you hear it in game, you'll go, oh, that's a sound, that's a good sound. It is a good sound. Anyways, reduced missed attack cooldown time to 2.5 seconds was 3. This makes the Xenomorph feel a little bit more beefy, like he's not... No Xenomorph in any of the Alien movies is gonna wait 3 whole goddamn seconds before he's able to attack again. If he had to wait, he'd probably wait less than 2.5, but it is a game at the same time, so reducing the missed attack cooldown time to 2.5 is going to make things so much better. Increase the killer instinct range when exiting tunnel to 16 was 12. 12 is like... 12 was good, 16 is better, and that's pretty big. That's 4 more meters. So now you're gonna have even more incentive to stay away from the tunnels as a survivor. So that's good. Decreased the time it takes to get out of a tunnel to 1.5 seconds was 2.25. That makes sense. I never really had a problem with how long it took for him to get out of the tunnel. Again, it does help him though. I mean, yeah, I guess it is better to be faster, but I mean, at what point is, you can change values everywhere, but if you change something that is like just dumb, like it doesn't really matter, it doesn't really make sense. But I do like the change. I do like that the Xenomorph got a buff there. Okay, change. Increase the amount of fire needed to burn the Xenomorph out of crawler mode to 175 was 100. You only really needed so much fire anyways, so this might help it a bit, but before we start talking about that one, we need to talk about the other 3. Increased delay before the Xenomorph's heat starts to dissipate to 15 seconds when it was 1 second. Okay. Decrease the Xenomorph's heat dissipation rate to 2 seconds. Heat dissipation rate to 2 per second was 25. And adjust several add-ons to align with these changes. Okay. Okay. So I don't know what that means, but let me explain. This right here makes a lot of sense, right? It's like, think of like a boss game, like a boss with a health bar, right? Imagine if like there was a boss that was just too easy. Well, increase his health to 175 instead of 100, and he's just a tad bit harder, Might make the boss a little bit more fun to face. Increase the delay before the heat starts to dissipate to 15 seconds was 1. That is a major change. And I feel like if I start explaining what I think it means, I'm gonna get it wrong. But basically this means that the Xenomorph is like, ow, it hurts for 15 seconds instead of 1 second. and the heat dissipation rate is now 2 per second. It was 25 per second. Again, I really have no idea what that really means. Now, I feel like this, in and of itself, could have worked out. This increased delay before the heat starts to dissipate. That probably would have worked out better. But even then, 15 seconds, that's a long time compared to the 1 second. You could have, like, fucking gave us a goddamn handy and gave us 10 seconds instead of 15. Holy crap. I don't even know what happens when the xenomorph gets heated up. I mean, obviously he gets out of the fucking crawler mode, which is the point. But the dissipation rate, this, I feel like I need 5 different top tier YouTubers to explain to me what this means. And even then, I will still also need Matthew Cote to whisper in my ear what it means too, before I even get a 50% grasp. Because as of right now, I'm not really sure what this would really mean. But that's just me, anyways. So they buffed the good guy, which was in one of the most bizarre moves by behavior. They released a really good killer. People complained, so they nerfed him to hell. And then people complained. So, you know, it's almost like no matter what you do, people are going to complain. And you should prioritize what makes more sense. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, reduced hidey-ho mode cooldown to 12 seconds was 14. Again, this is going to help. Kinda okay, you know. I mean, 14 wasn't that bad anyways, but 12 just makes it a little bit more better, and you know what, it makes sense. You know, I feel like the good guy as a doll human is a bit more agile than a regular human, so I imagine him, like, you know, going straight into hidey-ho mode every 12 seconds. Like, that just seems logical in my brain, you know. Reduced time to reach max speed after scamper. Just give him max speed? I don't know. Okay, terror radius adjustments. Now this is gonna be nice. Increase the hillbilly's terror radius to 40 was 32. Increase the blight's terror radius to 40 was 32. Okay, so hillbilly and blight are some of the worst killers to face as a survivor. I think blight especially is horrible to face. So increasing the blight's terror radius is going to help a lot, because the blight is so goddamn fast. He's even faster than hillbilly. I feel like hillbilly could have been like 38, but 40's fine. But the blight is so goddamn fast that it is just recommended that as soon as you hear that heartbeat, you fucking book it. You book it. You go as fast as you possibly can away from that fucking generator. Because by the time you start hearing the heartbeat get louder, turns out he rushed to you. So it is a very good change for Blight and Hillbilly. People were complaining that the Deathslinger's terror radius... Oh, wait, before I go to that. The change for the pig, they buffed the pig. They decreased the pig's terror radius to 24, was 32. Did the same thing Ghostface and Skull Merchant. Now, people were complaining that Deathslinger should have a lower terror radius. However, I feel like that might make him just a bit more OP, considering the fact that he can shoot at you. So, like, I feel like the Deathslinger's terror radius is fine the way it is, but I could be wrong. The pig's terror radius 24 was 32. That makes sense. That makes, you know, she's supposed to be a stealth killer. Ghostface, again, stealth killer. That makes sense. Skull Merchant, you should reduce the Skull Merchant's terror radius to 12 if you're not going to do anything else with her, in my honest opinion. Match surrender option. This is another weird one for people. If one of the following conditions is met, the surrender option will become available in the match details screen. I assume that means when you pause the game. Right, it'll tell you the match details as soon as you pause the game, so there will be a surrender option instead of quit or something. When all remaining survivors are bots, the killer can surrender without a disconnection penalty. I have not had this happen to me except one time. 3 survivors disconnected, and I killed the one survivor that didn't disconnect. I don't really care fighting against bots, so, it's not like this killer's forced to surrender. Some people say that they should switch it to win. If you want to win, kill the fucking bots, okay? Quit being a bitch. If you know what you're doing and you realize the bots are both stupid and have wall hacks, you can kill them and you don't have to cry and bitch about it, alright? The killer can surrender, it makes sense. Somebody said the killer should win. Whoever said that is a pussy, okay? When no generator has been completed for 10 consecutive minutes, the killer can surrender without a disconnection penalty. I like this. This helps killers who are fighting against rat survivors. The survivors who hide the whole match are basically impossible to find, especially on certain maps where it's really fucking big. And as long as they hear your terror radius, they can basically just hover around your terror radius. I think this is a good change. I'm trying to think of a way this could backfire. I swear I've heard somebody mention something that this could really backfire. Although I do agree that, if the survivors are quote-unquote winning by hiding for 10 minutes, the killer should win at this point without a disconnection penalty, because you're not playing the game right. But then again, that might even be a lesser argument than when all the survivors are bots. But I don't know. Either way, forget about it. When all other remaining survivors are bots, the survivor can surrender without a disconnection penalty. This is good. I feel like this should also play into effect when 2 survivors are bots. You have 2 back-to-back people disconnect. Like, imagine a survivor gets hooked and then they disconnect immediately. Then another survivor goes, "Oh, I'm gonna disconnect because that guy disconnected." And then the other two teammates are like, "Whoa, what the fuck? We're at 5 gens." It's almost impossible to win at that point if the killer's good, because the killer can just tunnel out the bots. You're basically fucked at that point. You're lucky if you're gonna be at 4 or 3 gens at that point. So this is really good. I really like this one. But again, it shouldn't just be when 3 people disconnect, because that's more rare than 2 people disconnecting. 3 people disconnecting, again, has only ever happened to me once, and that was when I was killer. So even in the end, it didn't really matter to me as a survivor. So this is only gonna affect like 0.001% of matches anyways. Unless I'm just at a different MMR than you, lol amount, get wrecked, loser, you're at a different MMR, but seriously. 2 survivors disconnecting makes more sense than all other survivors disconnecting, because that is not only the part where it makes the match almost impossible, but that is also the majority of what happens when a disconnection is bad. If 1 survivor disconnects, it's usually not that big of a deal. You can kind of power through, but it is still a bit of a struggle because you don't have a person who can think properly, because bots don't think properly. They're basically gonna do something. They're not gonna think why they're doing it. They're just gonna do it. When all survivors are in the dying state, the survivor can surrender without a disconnection penalty. I'm only worried about this if someone has Unbreakable or something. Like, what if one of your teammates has Unbreakable and they use it and they pick everybody up? Well, it doesn't matter because 2 of them fucking surrendered. So, you know, keep in mind Unbreakable exists. They say right here, all you plot twisters out there, we see you. This will not trigger surrender. Again, make sure Unbreakable is on there. Make sure Unbreakable is on there. Forsaken Boneyard. Nobody in the history of all of this game wanted to see any updates to this thing other than it being removed. But they've expanded the Forsaken Boneyard realm with a shack-focused map and updated the existing map tiles to improve navigation. So basically, what I assume this means is they got rid of those fucking vines to the existing map tile, as well as probably made some pallets harder for survivors to use. Pallet tiles harder for survivors to use. And now they've given a new Boneyard map with a shack focused map, so you're not going to have the main building there, which is a problem. They should add 2 hooks to the top floor of the main building, because sometimes 2 survivors go up there and it's really hard to hook the second one, because by the time you hook the first one, you pick up the second one and they both had horse, so now you have to like slowly try to navigate yourself down or try to drop them. But if you fail to drop them, you have to pick them up, and that only increases their wiggle time by more, so it's almost as better just to walk down. But because of horse, it makes your wiggling more severe, so it's a lot easier to fall down. I know that's a strategy, but people use it just to be dick. And at that point, it's almost better just to leave them on the goddamn ground. So, I'm glad they are adding a new map to the Forsaken Boneyard. I know people hate it, but at the very least, they're gonna get rid of those goddamn branches, so that's gonna be a little bit easier, and some of the tiles are gonna be better. I never really had a problem with this map, except for the previous statement. But the best thing they could do is to remove the Forsaken Boneyard and just have the shack-based map be the only one. And until that happens, well, we'll see. I'm not going to make any assumptions. Okay, they're changing survivor perks. Quick and Quiet. Decrease the cooldown to 15 seconds was 20. Okay. That'll make it... no one really cares. Deception. Increase the time during which you leave no scratch marks to 5 seconds. Oh my god, this might actually be worth it. 5 seconds of no scratch marks can really leave the killer fucking bamboozled to hell. 3 seconds of no scratch marks might be good. It's barely it, right? So think about it, right? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. By the time the killer walks like 5 steps, he's gonna see your fucking scratch marks. But think about it now. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. You can bamboozle the killer just a little bit better, though the killer still might be able to find your scratch marks anyways. This leaves it to be more of a bamboozle. And it decreases the cooldown to 15 seconds, it was 20. Again, you can bamboozle them even faster. I'm not sure if people are still gonna use it. I mean, I know people dislike the fucking other scratch mark fucking perk. I actually kind of like it a little bit. You know, the feather, the one that makes the scratch marks all fucking crazy. Sometimes that can be useful. Most of the time it's not, but I do like it anyways. So Deception might be the better one this time, but you'll never know until a killer cries about it or something. Okay, when you can taste the killer's tears, that's when you know it's a good perk. Dance With Me. Increased the time during which you leave no scratch marks to 5 seconds was 3. Again, similar to Deception. Decreased the cooldown to 15 seconds. Again, you can bamboozle killers a little bit easier. Red herring. Decrease the minimum generator repair time needed to trigger this perk to 1 second was 3. Okay? I don't know what red herring does. I'm just gonna assume that it's gonna do something that's probably better. I don't know. We'll see. I really don't think quick and quiet kind of just fucking sucks anyways, because the only time you need to fast fall is when you're being chased by the killer, and it's usually they see you. I guess it can be useful in like the very rare occasion where you're at a crazy tile and you vault a window and you go to a different tile, but like none of these changes are really going to do anything. Knockout. When a survivor drops a pallet, if they move 6 meters away from the pallet within 6 seconds, they get 5% hindered for 5 seconds. This might actually help. You know, in some places in the game, there are pallets that are you can't mind game. They're called God pallets. And usually what the survivor will do is they drop the God pallet, and then they run far the fuck away, and then you basically got no time to catch up to them because you can't walk around the pallet. You basically are forced to break the pallet or go for somebody else. Now you're given the option to kind of like go for the survivor. Like now I'm like, okay, now if they drop that shitty ass pallet, I can break it and I can feel better because they're going to be hindered for 5 seconds. So by the time I catch up to them, they're probably gonna get out of hindered, but it'll be too late and I'll be able to hit them. So, you know, it's probably not going to make it too popular, but maybe it will. Maybe it will. I see multiple use case scenarios for this. I see a lot of use case scenarios for this. So who knows? Maybe Knockout will actually be one of the better changes for the perks in this update. Alien Instinct increased aura reveal duration to 8 seconds was 5, and increased the Oblivious to 60 seconds was 20. Huge buff. Holy fucking shit. Survivors are going to be blind for a whole fucking minute? Oh my god. People are going to be using it. Increase the duration of Oblivious to 40 seconds was 30 based. Wow. Okay. And decreased the cooldown to 20 seconds was 30. I mean, looking at the perk above, you already... What does Hysteria do again? It probably matters, or it doesn't. One or the other. Deathbound. Shorten the range at which this perk activates to 4 meters was 8. Cool. Increase the aura reveal duration for the Nemesis perk to 8 seconds was 4. Again, just making it a little bit easier to find some bitches. And oh yeah, that's the end of the patch notes. So all I have to say is, you know, these guys are still updating this game since the fucking game's inception. I know they kinda suck as a company, but at the end of the day, a lot of companies kinda suck, but I feel like there's a tug and pull with every single developer. The thing with behavior is that they tend to pull a bit more than you would expect most developers to do. So they tend to like kinda have it their way more so than to have it to be the consumer's way. Now obviously there has to be a tug and pull. You cannot give consumers everything they want because sometimes consumers don't know what they want. But sometimes, consumers are absolutely right about something, but the developer just doesn't see it the same way, and I feel like that's what behavior is basically at. They're not at the point where they're pulling completely dismissing everything the consumer is saying, but they are pulling a bit more than other companies who are more successful. So at the end of the day, what I really wanted to see, no shits and giggles, I just wanted to see the fucking anti corner tech mechanic removed, or rather, I wanted to see the AFK third bird make the survivor have no collision for like 2 seconds or however long. 1 second even. Doesn't have to be that long. Could be as long as the hit thing is. I wanted to see that implemented, and they didn't implement that. Okay, but they are saying it is in April and June. I know they have to prioritize things, and they have to do, different things. Yeah, hiding and body blocking prevention. But oh my god, there are just some things that you can just fucking put into the goddamn game right away. But they have to be true to their word. So they have to give out an update that, a couple of things people weren't expecting, but, at the end of the day, it is just next month, but it's what I wanted to see more than any of this, like, seriously. But, hey, they said it was in April. There's just my take on the developer update. I don't want to do videos like this because I am one of the worst people to be doing a video like this, because I simply do not give a shit. Okay? There are a couple things that I give a shit about more than other things, but a lot of people say that Dead by Daylight has a lot of problems. I'm one of the people that say Dead by Daylight doesn't have as many problems as people say it does, right? Now, obviously there are some problems, right? But I just simply, I don't have the care to care enough. All I want for this game is to have griefing and shit like that to be as little as possible. Now I'm in the lower MMR. I don't know if higher MMR more griefing happens, but I don't really see it that often. But, like, seriously. People, we as a species tend to go for the negative. And it's literally encoded into our brain. We go for the negative about everything. Why? So we can fix what is negative to make it better. We prioritize negativity so we can fix negativity. The problem is we prioritize negativity too much because of this. So when I look at Dead by Daylight, I see a fun game. When other people look at Dead by Daylight, they see a mess that just has so many problems that have been there for fucking years, and the developers are just stupid. And a lot of that is true, but I feel like everybody who complains about this game a lot can take it a notch back. You might be at 10, you might be at 11. Put it to 10, put it to 9. Realize that this is a video game that people have spent years trying to make a better game, for better or for worse. But, feel free to complain, because at the same time, complaining is worth it. We as a species complain for a reason, so we can change what we complain about. But yeah, cool developer update, I guess. Good job.